Hi guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Cherry Mark. Thanks for joining me today, this evening, this beautiful evening. I hope you are safe wherever you are, and I hope you are doing well. Yeah, I am here outside. I just wanted to continue with our lesson last time, and we are going to look at the duties of a man in the Kikuyu society. We already began last lesson and we were able to look at a few duties of men in the Kikuyu society. We are going to go ahead and yeah, I hope you enjoy. Now, one duty of a man that we didn't talk last time was the man had the duty to lead. He was a leader. He was the one leading the home, and he was always the one who had the man was the person who had something to say. That means um yeah, that means when the man said something, especially in homes or in in a family, then his word was the last one. There was no discussions, there were no quarrels, there was nothing like I oppose or anything. The man had the last word. He was the leader, and we see in the Kikuyu home, Moduri niwe kyogo kya mushi. That means the man is the head of the home. So when the woman was busy with kids, playing up and down, looking for food up and down, and the man came in the house, when the man started to talk, it was his turn, and nobody was there to discuss, to oppose his opinion. He had the last word to be said, and everyone had to adhere to his words. So we see that the role of a man was highly precious during that time, early in the days. Actually, I can remember from my growing up, as I always say, we spent quite a lot of time in my grandmother's home, and I experienced that, and I had the opportunity to see what actually the role of a man was and how he was respected. He was like the head. And I remember, especially in our home that time, my grandfather used to have his special seat, and that meant when he was around, nobody was tampering around at his seat. No one was allowed to sit there. And even if he was outside and maybe you're just sitting at his seat, you will see immediately the person who sat there would immediately leave the seat for my grandfather. I mean, there was that special respect. I don't know how to say that. I think people in in the Western culture may not really understand what I mean. But people who have grown in Africa, especially people who have grown in such a family setting, may most probably understand what I mean. I mean, the man had special respect. I mean, everyone was there to respect the man, and you would even see when, okay, for example, when my grandfather used to come in the house, or he was just like he's coming and we just hear his steps, everyone else will go quiet, and everyone else, whatever you are doing, be it a bad thing, you will stop doing whatever you are doing and sit in order, just sit in a very nice position, just to portray that respect of the man in the house. And I remember even when he used to talk in the house, everyone else was quiet, everyone else was listening. Everyone else was, you know, was attentive. And I remember even my grandmother, for example. My grandmother was maybe the one who was talking and, you know, just saying her opinions. And you will see, even my grandmother herself, she didn't have much to decide. I mean, after all, my grandfather was the head of that house, was the head of that, you know, that territory. And you will see that the man had power, a lot of power. You know, it I think they really felt good, the fact that they were the leaders. They 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 saw the respect coming from everybody. And even that behavior towards the men that day, that time, was extremely um, precious. So, well, I can't emphasize more other than to say the man was the leader of the community, the man was the leader of the home, the man was the leader of, you know, he was the head of the house, the head of the community, the head of the clan. We never had women leading by that time. That's why we see a lot has changed with these modern times, since the women started ruling, or since the women overcame the power of the men. I think that has completely changed. And that's why we see women taking the roles of men, and men on the other side not having the chance to rule, or even to lead as they are supposed to. So it is quite sad, but well, time has changed. Now, the next thing we're going to look at is um, the men were the ones. Okay, one of the duties of the men was slaughtering animals, or, you know, they were the ones who had they it was their duty to slaughter goats, to slaughter cows in any function, even at home. For example, when there was a wedding, or there was some other traditional ceremonies at home, the men were the ones to slaughter the goats. The men were the ones to slaughter the cows or the bulls, whatever was there to be slaughtered. We see that in the traditional home, that meat was quite eaten a lot, and it was one of those special foods in the community, or even in the family. So men generally had the duty to slaughter the meat, and even to prepare the meat on fire for the women before it was taken in the kitchen. So arũme mathijaga mbũri kana gũthĩnja ng'ombe, because this was not the work of women. You know, nowadays we see women, you know, some women will even start they do slaughter the chicken or so. But this was earlier, in those times. This was the work of men. They were the ones to slaughter the animals that were meant to be eaten. So this was one of the major activities, or one of the duties that the men automatically had to perform and had to do for the community and even for their families. We have seen already that the men went hunting. So wherever they went to hunt for wild animals there that were edible, they brought the meat, and they had to slaughter and prepare the animal before it was taken to the kitchen for the women to prepare it. And even you know, the preparation of that slaughtering of that animal included like preparing the skin. We might have seen in our history that the skin of animals were used as clothing. So the men, as they slaughtered those animals, bori kana dhege kana ng'ombe, that skin, the skin that was left, the leftover after the animal was slaughtered, it was used as clothing. It was used for keeping someone warm, or even just a special clothing for ceremonies. So this was one of those duties that men did. The other thing that is the other thing that men did was, for example, in functions like funerals, we know very well the men were the ones that dug the burial place where the person was to be buried. We know very well in the Kikuyu traditional funerals, we see that people were not cremated. So most of the people, or all the people at that time, or people at that time, used to be buried in their homes, or even in their farms. So what happened is the men prepared the burial place where the person who died was put inside, or the person who died was buried. So during that funeral ceremony, we see that a few days before the initial burial ceremony took place, there was the preparation, and the preparation included selecting a place where the person who died was to be buried. And these men, the young men, were the ones digging that burial site. So even when the body came, when the body the body came, the dead person in this case, I mean, the men are the ones who carried the body from the mortuary to the burial site. This was not the work of women, and it still is not the work of women to carry the body. This is the work of men. And there are a lot of duties that men were to perform and were expected to do in the Kikuyu society. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to end this video right here. I'm going to continue this in another video. I hope you are fine wherever you are. I hope you are taking care of yourselves. I wish you all a beautiful week. It's almost end of the week, and I hope, yeah, we are gonna continue from here. And yeah, I hope meanwhile you are enjoying the other videos. If you have any questions, if you have any comment, suggestions, please feel free and leave your comment down there. Give your suggestions down there. I will so much appreciate. Meanwhile, I'm looking for more interesting topics to bring in this channel. I hope I'm gonna be successful, and yeah, I hope we are gonna look into something different. And yeah, till we meet again next time, thank you so much for subscribing. Thank you so much for watching, and thanks again for choosing this channel. Bye bye and good night.